Ships or Shipsy? Only you can decide. Find out more at shipzorz.com. Good morning, everyone, supply chainers, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're going to be logging into this live stream. Happy Tuesday and welcome to another amazing week in 2021. We have a lot of things going on. We have definitely started this year off with a bang, and I can't wait to tell you all about that. So let's do that first. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening at Let's Talk Supply Chain this week. I've also got some events that are coming up that I have written on because I want to make sure to do all of them. So this week's episode is with Dan Deegan. So if you're in logistics or you're in logistics sales, this is the episode for you. Dan has been in the industry just as long as I have, and he spent most of his time in the industry in sales, and he's really honed in on some great ways to do logistics sales, especially right now as everything is virtual. We can't really meet in person, and he has some pretty lofty goals and helping logistics salespeople get to 5 figures a month. So go and check that out. That's episode 169, wherever you listen to the podcast. We also have a new mini series this month. So Blue Jay Solutions are joining us this month for our mini series, and we're talking all about visibility. We're talking sustainability. We're also talking about simulation. So last week, we released the first episode, Visibility Unchained. This week, Thursday afternoon, we are releasing an episode about simulation, and this one is going to blow your mind. So make sure to check that out. It's released on Thursday, and I can't wait for you to see that one as well this afternoon. So not only am I going live this morning, but I'm also going live this afternoon with Blue Yonder, and we're going to be talking. They did some amazing in-depth research into the future of fulfillment. We're going to be talking about dark stores. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff when it comes to fulfillment. So it's almost like fulfillment secrets revealed. So join us. We're going to be live on the Let's Talk Supply Chain page, not my page, but the Let's Talk Supply Chain page, as well as the Blue Yonder page, talking about fulfillment. What else do we have going on? We have also, I'm going to be part of the Forge Supplier Diversity Conference. This one's happening February 25th. I want to let you know about this because supplier diversity is one of the biggest topics that I am talking to people about right now. And there are some huge names going to this event. So if you want to check it out, we do have the registration pinned to the top of our Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page, and you can go and register there. Next week, I'm also doing a panel discussion in partnership with Procurement Foundry with Pallet Alliance and also some other great experts in pallets and supply chain around your pallet program. They're kind of the unsung heroes of transportation. And so we want to be talking about the pallet program. They can help you with your sustainability goals. Type of program help only money, but time. And so there's a lot going on there. What else do we have? I am running a webinar in partnership with Ocean Insights in Cisco. That one's happening January 26th. And I'm also emceeing an event for Four Kites, which is coming up in February as well. And I will let you know all about those details coming up. And then tomorrow, actually, I am doing a Twitter chat in partnership with AT&T about manufacturing. So if you're on Twitter and you follow the hashtag BizTalk, so BIZ or Z, TALKS. You'll be able to find us over on Twitter for that Twitter chat. And I really hope that you can join us because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Last but not least, before I bring Audrey up, you know that I cannot wait to bring Audrey up to the stage. She's my trade bestie. It's our first episode back in 2021. And we're going to get to everybody's comments once I bring her up as well. Last but not least, let you know that we have launched ships. So if you're an importer or an exporter and you'd like to streamline your freight for shipments, make sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Love to give you a demo, get you on the platform, and just be handling your air and ocean freight shipments that much easier. So let us know. That's ships.com, SHIPZ or Z.com. All right. Without further ado, I am bringing Audrey up to the stage. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Kicking the year off with a bang. I know. Right? It was a nice break though. It was nice to have a break and then get back to it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the break. I was able to get some downtime, that's for sure. And I know you did too.
Yeah.
So just quickly, let everybody know who you are and what you do. I mean, they probably already know, but let's just make sure that
For sure. My name is Audrey Ross. I'm based here in Toronto, Canada. I am a logistics and customs specialist at Orchard Custom Beauty, which is a sort of private label company that really focuses on cosmetics, bath, and beauty accessories, and we ship around the world. We do global manufacturing. Our customers are all over, so it's always interesting.
Yeah, always interesting. Capacity issues, Chinese New Year.
I mean, this morning I can't even
bring that up right now because you're gonna like break out in sweats.
I got a quote yesterday. We're trying to get on a Jan 15th closing, and she comes back with, "Well, they can't accept your full shipment. They can only accept part of it, or you can pay for a 20-foot container at $6,100." And I was like, $6,100 for a 20-foot container?
That's a lot.
That's not even a full, that's not even a big, that's like a portion, come on. And then I was like, okay, I don't have a lot of choices here. It's either that or $9.50 per kilo in air. She comes back this morning. It's now $68.50. And it's not the same schedule. It's the next vessel sailing.
Oh, dear Lord. What is Audrey going to do? She's going to spend all day trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And getting the right people in place to have the right conversations to say yes or no, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Which is where ships would help. So
yes.
Watch for that. Watch for that little update a little later this morning.
Thank you, Audrey. No, but I also have somebody else that I think that you should talk to. So I'm going to be doing an introduction this week as well. Because I was talking to somebody yesterday about their new program on how they're helping to reduce chargebacks in the retail sector, but especially in beauty. So I think it might be a really, really good connection for you, and definitely going to make that connection this week.
That's the third one you've sent me this week. Oh my gosh, it's been a week of connections. Mike Cadieu too had a great introduction. What was it? Friday.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess we shouldn't forget the people over on my personal LinkedIn page. So let's just give a shout out to everybody. Vikash, good morning. Peter, well, thanks. Yes, Peter. Actually, morning, both Peters. Nella, hello. Rhonda, hello. We're so glad that you can join us. I'm doing some stuff with Rhonda, I think, coming up the end of this week as well. I'm actually going live with TJ. I think it's Hold My Beer. And I think that's this Thursday as well. I probably should have mentioned that. There's so much going on, guys.
There's so much going on.
Trying to keep it together, trying to make sure that everybody gets an idea of everything that's going on. And good morning, Kevin, over on my personal page as well. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. So what are we talking about? I think the first thing we're talking about is the question of the week. So if anybody doesn't know, Let's Talk Supply Chain. We put out a question of the week every single Wednesday morning because we want to start conversations within the community. And so this week's question is, who is someone in your life you want to thank and why? And so most of the time we do ask a supply chain question, but there's sometimes that we want to change it up and we want to just, incite conversation and talk about different things and help people just to reflect and think about some of the good things. So who is that person for you?
It'd be you.
Me? Why?
It'd be you, like easy, because you're my trait bestie. That'd be like just like the first question of the week in months where I'm like, oh, I know the answer to this. I don't have to look through everybody else's comments and try to cobble something together.
Is anybody seeing this? It's really hot in here. I think I need to go turn it down. Audrey, that's so nice. Thank you for that. I have a lot of people. I would, and I think it goes to show whether they're still living or not living.
Yeah.
And I would probably go back and thank my grandfather. He's no longer here.
I would thank my grandfather.
Yeah, and I think also I would thank Claudia Knowlton-Chaik of Google. Because she has really been somebody who has been one of my greatest supporters. And I just want to thank her. So I am looking forward to hearing about everybody's comment to that question coming up on the question of the week tomorrow. You got me all flustered, Audrey. I'm like,
sorry.
Okay, so now we're going to my thoughts and coffee post, and that happened on Sunday. Let me just share that with everybody. And so what I wanted to do with this one this week was I wanted to talk about laughter. So I had my nephew over on Saturday, and he likes these just, I think they're funny. I mean, they're funny sometimes. He tells them over and over again. And so for the most part, they are funny. And maybe I'm going to share one of those with you. But it reminded me how much we need some belly laughs and how much laughter really is the best medicine, right? It's an icebreaker sometimes when you're talking to somebody that you've just met. It's contagious, right? Because a smile is contagious. Laughter is contagious. And some of the research that I did on it, it's central to relationships, right? It really, really makes for a good relationship. It makes you feel good, right? Because you're naturally smiling when you're laughing. It protects your heart. So they were talking about how laughter actually prevents heart disease and it fuels your brain. So it actually fires some of those things in your brain that you need to, have those conversations and think intelligently about things. And so I thought, on Sunday, why don't we get everybody's best jokes? And some of the jokes that came out of this, like, guys, go to my profile, Sarah Barnes-Humphrey, look for this post. I'm not going to read all of them today because it's going to take the whole episode.
Yeah.
But there are some blonde jokes in there that are so funny from Sarah Scudder. Amanda Prochaska, her dad joke game, I mean, so good. So go and check that out. But what did you think of this post?
I loved it. And like, it's such a good, you get these inspirations from different people in your life, and like your nephew's such a special kid. So it was kind of nice to see that on Sunday, that it was like, more lighthearted, going into, I think the first week back was a bit of a challenging week. So it was kind of a nice switch up, and then seeing everybody's jokes that were really funny. So
they were so funny. So I guess I'll share one of the ones. Yeah, I'm going to share one of the ones that my nephew shared, and I did not share it in this post. So, all right, let's do this. Hopefully, I remember it. Okay, so how do you put an elephant in the fridge?
How do you what?
Okay, how do you put an elephant in the fridge?
How do you put an elephant in the fridge?
You open the door, you stuff the elephant in, you close the door. Now, how do you put the giraffe in the fridge? You open the door, you take the elephant out, you put the giraffe in the fridge, you close the door. And then Lion King decided to have a birthday party. Who didn't show up to the birthday party? The giraffe, because it's stuck in the fridge. So that is one of my nephew's favorite jokes. I honestly wish that we could hear some of the audience right now, because then I might feel a little bit better about my delivery. But hopefully that started everybody's day on a high note.
Oh my God.
Right?
I really liked his description of supply chains, though.
Oh yes. So I posted that on my Instagram stories. and
cracked me up.
him and I did some Snapchat funny things. We did some funny videos, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
"Guy, what is supply chain?" And he's like, "It's supply and it's chains." I mean, and then he walked off.
It was the exit, right? It's the timing. Like, because he was right there, and then he like just kind of like,
I know, he just like walks off. And this kid, guys, this kid is like 9 years old. And he's actually at the end of every single one of my episodes because I recorded him saying the end of my podcast. And so
oh,
he's
nice.
actually at the end of every single one of my episodes. So yeah. Anyways, maybe we should actually get to some more serious topics.
Yeah,
right now.
sure.
So,
I'm with Davin though. Davin said, if you're not, like, it's my line too, where it's like if you're not, you can't cry, so you have to laugh about it.
well, and on my post, I feel bad for Nick because Trey actually called out his delivery on one of his jokes. But I mean, how do you really deliver a joke over LinkedIn? I mean, come
It's
on.
impossible.
So Nick,
you do a video and post
you have
it.
a lot of time to redeem yourself. So we will work on that for 2021. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay. All right. So the first article that we are talking about today
Is it the hair? No, okay. It's
no. We're
we
getting
gotta save that one.
yeah, we have to do a slow ball or lob ball or whatever that is. So the first article, Robomart doesn't deliver products, it delivers the entire store. So we have kind of seen this before. I know that in 2020 we talked about an article about KFC and how in China they have KFC on a truck and it like the food is actually on the truck and you can pick the food up. So I wanted to follow that up and talk about this Robomart because this is an actual pharmacy that you can hail like a cab.
It's nuts.
So I don't know what you thought about this, but they're now
it's nice to
calling
see
it delivery. They're calling it store hailing.
Store hailing. That's just a marketer really got their hands on that one.
So is store hailing now a part of supply chain? I mean, this is something that we need to think about in 2021 because, I might just have to start hosting some panels on this if this is really going to become a thing and part of last mile delivery.
Yeah, because it's not delivery because it's not ordered, and delivery implies ordered or expected. Right. So, so store hailing, I could get on board with store hailing. Possibly.
Yeah. So it says there's no scheduling, no online cart, and no third party shopper. And basically what it's saying with their RFID is when you grab a product and you go to buy it, it automatically charges your credit card.
Yeah. I mean, it seems it seems seamless. Like it seems like a great idea. But you're losing the customization piece that a lot of people want. You're losing the ability to manage your inventory because you're losing pre-order, right? So it's like someone decides what goes in that van and what you get to choose from.
Right.
Right? And you're like, what if it's not what I want?
That's a good point. How are they going to control that?
Yeah.
So Aaron says it would be nice if those hailing stores would service remote locations. Okay, there's that too. Yeah. I mean, I guess
because these guys are in like San Francisco or Manhattan. So what about the rest of us?
Well, actually, what were they saying? Where is that place? Where are they doing it?
Okay, shock me.
Oh, they're doing it. They recently started a beta test in West Hollywood. So yes, you're right.
Okay.
In California. And the funny thing about this as well is that, so they're planning to go fully autonomous with more products. One of the early leaders in this space is called Robomart. I don't know if anybody has heard of them. I hadn't heard of them. But they launched a roving walk-in store in China. I haven't seen that yet. I don't even know what that can look like. But what their founder is predicting is that in 20 years, maybe only 1% of the grocery store chains that are operational in the world right now will still be there.
I have a feeling, that might be true.
Yeah.
That's not a surprising statistic the way things are going.
Yeah.
I just think you losing the customization or losing the pre-order piece is, like what?
Right. Yeah, I got it. And everybody's, talking about, walking into a store or walking out of a store versus picking up a product off of a Robomart. Sorry.
But for those sensitive products that you might not, it's like you could appreciate that you're like, I could just grab them from this van and walk into my house. I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's going to be convenience, right?
you
Because you
know,
have to actually, plan going to the store sometimes and getting what you want and all that kind of stuff. So that would definitely be good for convenience. All right, we have to
yeah.
get to the next one because this
Okay.
one absolutely just blew my mind. So for everybody, all of the links to the articles that we talk about. Oh, hello. AJ made a surprise appearance on Thoughts and Coffee this morning. Welcome. And he is dying in the background. All right. So, for everybody, the articles that we talk about today, the link is in the comments. So check those articles out. Age still embarrassed. That's two of us today that have been embarrassed on Thoughts and Coffee. That's awesome. Anyways, so the next article is amazing. So this one is about the economics of human hair trade, but more importantly, it talks about the supply chain around human hair, which is not something that I've ever thought about. It's not something that has ever come up in discussion around supply chain for me. And so reading this article was absolutely fascinating. And I wrote down a whole bunch of notes because I didn't want to get it wrong. And there was a couple of points that I wanted to talk about. So what did you think about this article?
It's a whole business. Like there's a whole business to hair that I think even I'm in beauty and cosmetics, and it's not, something that we like, it's there, but you don't realize the extent of it. And this article had some great numbers on
There they are.
on the like who's leading that market. So of course it's going to be China. Here they've represented that as Hong Kong, India. But the market for the products is all over the world. So the U.S. is a big importer of wigs and hair pieces as well. And then the kind of piece on, the extent that they go to get all of this different hair.
Yes.
Is fascinating.
Yeah. So there are a few challenges which we'll get to. One of the things that kind of was weird for me is right at the top of this article, it says it's even a part of the bagel making process at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute because we're talking about hair and I don't know how it has to do with donuts at Dunkin' Donuts, but I can tell you I will never be eating donuts there ever again. Because it seems to be intentional, where most restaurants it's unintentional. Yeah. But anyways, I wanted to point that out. It takes 100 pairs of hands or something. I was reading something about it takes 100 pairs. Oh, here you go. 100 pairs of hands before it reaches its final destination within the human hair supply chain, which I thought was absolutely incredible. And some of the supply chain process is that they are getting the hair from the grower, which is weird to say. They're sending the hair to a factory where it gets untangled. Yeah. Then they're sending it to a manufacturer. Then they're sending it to a distributor. And then from that distributor, it's going to online stores or it's going to salons, which, for a supply chain, and obviously there's a ton of stuff in between. Obviously the transportation from point to point, moving it across the ocean. I would assume that they're doing it by ocean freight. They probably could be doing some by air freight, which is fascinating. And they're talking about shaving 40 heads per day for this human hair supply chain. And in an auction in February 2019, they got 157 tons of hair that was bought for $1.6 million. So this is a really, really big market, guys. Yeah. But some of the challenges around it, and I think that it's really good to bring to light, is obviously quality control. And so if there's any companies, and I know SQA services are in quality, and if there's anybody in quality, it could be a good place to start talking about quality and seeing what quality assurances you can put in for the human supply chain. Obviously, origin points, like where is the product coming from? and some of the ethics around it, right? So workers'
Yeah.
compensation, some people are growing hair just to sell it. It does take 2 years to actually grow hair
Yeah.
to the length that they need to be able to sell it. And I was at the beginning of this, I was saying to Audrey, I'm like, maybe I should, cut my hair and see what I could do with this. But Audrey said that I have treated hair and they don't like
Yeah.
treated hair. So yeah,
Be
guys, I'm not
careful.
naturally blonde. I mean, just anyway. They don't want treated hair, but part of the article talks about getting hair out of drains and stuff like that. So I could only imagine that they can't be that picky. And the other thing that they talk about in this article is there's this woman named Pretty, and she came up with a supply chain management solution for salons, which I thought was crazy. I'm telling you guys, this article is absolutely fascinating. So go and check it out. I wanted to bring it up to everybody's thoughts today, because again, we don't talk about it enough. There's a lot of different challenges. There's a lot of things from an ethical standpoint that, we should get behind potentially if we are purchasing some of these products. And so just something that I wanted to, I thought it was important to share in a really, really good article.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, it makes you think, that one.
Oh, it definitely makes you think. Like, I honestly didn't even think it was a thing. And apparently Erin didn't either, because she is very, very surprised at the human hair supply chain. There's a whole conversation going on our Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page. There's also a whole conversation happening on my personal page as well. I can't keep up with all of you. You guys are all amazing. And I'm so glad that you've come to watch Thoughts and Coffee this week. I mean, we do it every week on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and it looks like people are enjoying it. So we're going to continue to do that. Last but not least, what's the last article before we go? So the last article, this is, okay, so this one doesn't have anything to do with supply chain, but obviously because Let's Talk Supply Chain is a podcast, I wanted to bring in an article about podcasting, because some of the numbers that they're coming out with are absolutely staggering. And I don't know if any of you have heard of an app called Clubhouse, but that I also think is going to change the game. So they have predicted that podcast listeners are projected to hit 2 billion by 2025, which is up from 800 million in 2019. And that's some of the data that obviously they are amassing from all of the podcast hosting sites. Amazon obviously has Amazon Music. They just opened it up to podcasts, and you can find most podcasts on Amazon Music. You've got Spotify, you've got Apple. But now with this new Clubhouse app, which is an audio only app, people are going into rooms, they're having engaging conversations, and they're also talking about how it's going to affect or impact some of the podcast market as well. So I thought it was interesting to bring up. I think these numbers are pretty high. I don't know with some of the other stuff and the other innovations that are coming out if we're going to definitely hit those numbers. But it's really interesting to see, because Spotify is doubling down on this. Amazon is doubling down on this. New York Times is doubling down, Sirius XM, and Apple. And so everybody seems to be doubling down on this space. And there are a lot of podcasts out there. Like, I get a lot of people coming to me and saying, I'm overwhelmed already by the amount of content that's out there. How do I consume all of this? And it's kind of like, what do you do? There's a lot of live streams now. There's a lot of podcasts. So if anybody has any thoughts on how they are streamlining some of the content that they're being that they want to listen to, whether it's podcasts or live stream or things like that, put it in the comments, because I think you're really going to help someone by just letting them know how you filter some of your content as well. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Audrey?
Oh, it's a fascinating new world, but it's sort of what everyone has to go through. Like, where am I getting my content and who do I want to follow? So I think even when social media first started coming out, and places like Twitter and LinkedIn, there is the opportunity to follow different people. And so you sort of have to kind of figure out who speaks to you and who's inspiring you, and kind of go from there and see what your friends are listening to. And hopefully it's not fake, and hopefully they're all doing a good job at putting out, real content. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So I it'll be interesting to see where the podcast market goes. So just for everybody, Clubhouse is in beta right now. It's for iPhone users only, and it's invite only as well. So it's going to be open to the public, I think, within the next month or so, and it's going to change the game in audio. So let's sort of see what happens there. Anyways, we are winding down. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. Remember that I'm going live on Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page this afternoon, talking about fulfillment and the research that Blue Yonder has done into fulfillment. And so join us at 3:15 p.m. Eastern, and would love to see you there. Looking forward to all of your comments about fulfillment, because obviously it's a huge topic right now going into 2021, and what everybody's going to do with their bricks and mortar stores and DCs and micro warehousing and dark stores. Like, there's so much to talk about. I can't even wait. So I hope you all have an amazing week ahead. Looking forward to seeing you this afternoon, or maybe on Twitter tomorrow, and again at Thoughts and Coffee next Tuesday. Thank you, Audrey, for coming on for the first episode that we got to do together in 2021.